Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is solely to discuss the usage of the HTC U Ultra and the battery life. This seems to be a discussion that's always at hand when certain devices come out. I should say when new devices come out, flagship devices so to speak, and they have a smaller battery with very high-end specs such as a Quad HD display and a big one at that. So I watched several videos online and I hear the discussion. And the only way I can discuss battery life is to speak on my experiences, and I've said this in multiple videos. Every user's experience on battery is going to be different. When you look at the masses, there are people getting 3 hours of screen on time, and there are people getting 5 hours of screen on time, and there are people getting 4 hours of screen on time. There is too much, and I can't stress this enough, there is too much that goes into the way a battery on a phone performs, then it's just not a specific answer of this is what's causing the problem of great battery or this is what's causing the problem of poor battery. Every user is completely different. So if you scour the internet, you're going to see different battery ratings or battery percentages, or I got this amount, I got that amount on every different phone out there. Whether it be the S7, the S7 Edge, the iPhone, and the one in question by a lot of people now is the HTC U Ultra. And I think the reason being is there's a lot of people that's intrigued by this device and they want to pick it up. But let's be honest here, if a phone does not have good battery, it's really not a good phone. And I posted another video showing, my batteries. If you hit smartphoneconversations.com, you can actually see the screenshots in the last video that I did after the hype, which is basically 48 hours to 72 hours after using the phone. For those that have been following my channel, you know why I make those videos. It's just the title. It's basically just me letting you know, after the excitement wears off, where do I stand? And I've explained that in multiple videos, and I guess I'll have to continue to do that for the people that are not subscribed or that don't watch regularly. Now, my battery percentage on my device, this device over LTE, has been close to 5 hours. And when I say that, to be specific, it's 4 hours and 48 minutes or 4 hours and 50 minutes. Again, smartphoneconversations.com, you can check the screenshots. And then over LTE, or excuse me, over Wi-Fi, I got 5 hours and 20 minutes with about 5% left. So I intentionally started to record this video with 9% left. I did that intentionally. I waited till the battery ran its course, and I decided to start this recording because there are people out there that are getting very poor battery life, and there are people out there that are getting pretty decent battery life. And I think I fall into the decent battery life, or decent to good, which is acceptable for me, battery life. I know that Grant has this as well. In his battery life, he's consistently getting 4 hours. And I use Grant, for example, because in most cases, Grant is pretty accurate with his cell phone information. And, I trust the things that he says when he's reporting it. Even before Grant started doing YouTube, he always consistently reported his battery life to me over Twitter, and those conversations are still out there from months ago. So with that being said, and that's not to take away from other people, I'm just saying Grant knows what I'm talking about. I'll post my battery stats, and then he'll post his, and then his are always about an hour and a half lower than mine. So with this phone right here, it's identical. It's the same thing. I reported about 5 hours over Wi-Fi, a little over 5 hours. He's reporting consistently 4 hours, and that doesn't mean that we're both right, and nothing like that. It just means that the way we measure our batteries and the way we deal with our devices is pretty much consistent throughout all of our devices. And I definitely can speak for me. I have these same applications, and actually this phone actually loaded up way more games, because for my gaming review that I'll do, I want to test some heavy games like Mortal Kombat, and then some very basic games like Stick Hero. But the conversation and topic of battery is one that can go on for months and months to come. One user will never get, I know we're taught as a child never to say never, or as a young person never to say never. One user will never get the same battery exact percentages as another user. It just won't happen, because every user has a different number of applications on their devices, and all those applications pull resources. And I've said it in the past. Even though I don't affiliate myself with the Samsung Knights anymore, Richard in particular gave some great battery saving tips and ways to condition your phone to get the most battery. And while I have not really applied them to this particular device, meaning I haven't cleared the partition cache on here yet, and I should have, but I haven't. But my way of using a smartphone is consistent through all of my devices. And some phones get poor battery life with the way I use it, and some phones get good battery life. I've read some comments on other videos, on one of my other videos. The one video in particular is After the Hype, and I'll have a link to that in the description, where people said, this phone is overpriced. It's not worth it because the battery's too small. A number of different comments. But and people keep asking me, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know how many times I can stress it. You have to determine when something's worth something. I bought the S7 Edge when it was $360. I also bought the S7 Edge when it was $770 or $780 or whatever it was. I feel like the S7 and the S7 Edge are devices that are worth the value, because of what I use those for, how I use them, the cameras and everything is all worth it. It makes it a complete package. But we're talking about the HTC Ultra. So I haven't had this phone long enough to determine whether I think it's worth it or not, in my opinion. But what I will say, it's definitely exceeding my expectations when it comes to the cameras, the screen, and the overall build quality. I am going to remove this tempered glass here. Just looking at it, I've already removed the case and ordered some different cases. I've got a couple more cases coming in. Side note there. And but just as I'm shooting this video, I'm just being honest, I kind of feel like get that screen protector, get that tempered glass off there, get some regular screen protectors, or order a different tempered glass. I paid $5 for this tempered glass, and there are other tempered glasses out there now that actually come all the way to the edge, which really frustrates me because I don't want to peel this off and throw $5 out the window. Nonetheless, when it comes to a user's now, seeing as though the average consumer, and I actually believe that the average consumer probably won't get as good battery as we get, as I'm getting, and certain techies get, because in the system, I know to turn off things. I remember to turn off Bluetooth. I remember to turn off Wi-Fi. I remember to do these things. If you leave Wi-Fi on and Bluetooth on and you're not using it, you're just wasting your battery. And if you have a weak LTE signal, that's going to pull from the battery. Now, I keep mine consistently connected to a smartwatch, and I'm still getting that battery life. I'm getting 5 hours of screen on time. Now, on the other charges I got, it was 18 hours almost 19 hours on that charge where I got 5 hours of Wi-Fi, and then it was 17 going on 18 hours with LTE. Now, again, I intentionally started to record this video because I'm going to go right into the battery. As you can see, I have a shortcut for power because I'm frequently checking it. I don't use any kind of special tweaks, but remember, I don't have as many apps on my phone as you might have. Some users have just hundreds and hundreds of apps. I don't. So if I go to install, it should tell me, it used to list the number that you have installed. It looks like it doesn't show that anymore. Oh, it's pretty cool. I haven't been in here in a while. Because this is the new Play Store setup. If you haven't been in here, this is what the Play Store looks like now. At least for me on this device, this is what it looks like. But it used to be a number there showing me how many apps I had. But I can tell you, I don't have more than 100 apps on this device at all. So when people ask and talk about the HTC U Ultra's battery, every user is going to be different. So I'm at 7%. And we're going to go in here, and you can see the history is 15 hours and 12 minutes. And my screen on time is 5 hours and 34 minutes. Now, this phone has not been on the charger. And my brightness is set to auto. I also have it to time out at 2 minutes. Brightness level set to auto. I mean, I'm just showing you these settings because I think a lot of people don't believe that some users are getting this type of battery life. And obviously this was a much heavier day. This was Sunday. Well, I haven't charged this since Sunday, so and it's now 9:10 in the morning. So you know, to question whether or not a person's giving accurate information on a battery, there's no way that you can prove that they're not. You just have to go on the person's, especially if it's YouTube. You just kind of gauge, go back and look at some of their other battery tests that I've done, and and you can kind of see. I don't have a lot of applications on here. One thing that I can tell you that will save you some battery, and I've given battery tips before. You go into it was under location. You can change this to device only for your location, because the device does have GPS. You can do that, and also you go up here to scanning, and you turn this off. Don't allow the device to just scan, because this drains battery. Turn off Bluetooth scanning. Turn off Wi-Fi. I mean, listen. Look at what this says. Improve location by allowing system apps and services to detect Bluetooth devices at any time. Why would you want that on? You wouldn't, but you also wouldn't know that it's there if you don't dig and search. Wi-Fi scanning. Improve location by allowing system apps and service to detect Wi-Fi networks at any time. This is always scanning, and you want to turn those off. And how did I get there? You just go to location and you turn those off under the settings. But I don't have very many battery tips. I just, I have less than 100 apps, or let's just say I have 100 apps, because I think I'm at like 97 or something like that. I don't know. But this device does not have poor battery life. As I just showed you, I'm at 5 hours and 36 minutes now, and it'll continue to go up as long as I have the video going and I'm keeping the screen alive. But this was a heavier day for me. I ended up not doing much yesterday. I didn't watch TV. I didn't get on the internet. I just kind of sat in at home and just stayed on this device, and I didn't do it intentionally. That's just what it was. I actually had this device and another device, which was the Blade V8 Pro, and those were my two devices for the day to use. So for those that question the battery life on the HTC Ultra, and those that keep asking, there's people out there with not just this device. So don't think I'm defending this device. There's people out there that don't ever buy all the new devices like some of us do, and they always say something's not worth it. And they're entitled to do that. They can do that all they want to. But I still say that if you want to find out how battery life is going to be on a device, you have to buy it and you have to use it. You can't just use it for 2 weeks, or you can't just use it for in a month and feel like you've hammered it out. This is how the battery is going to be, because it's going to change. And I think that when it comes to topics like this, you kind of just have to take it with a grain of salt. I can see and hear everything that's going on out there for the discussion of this phone. How the majority of the people are saying it's not worth it. But there are people out there that actually have the device that feel differently. And that's always how it's going to be. It's always going to be the person that does not have it that is very fast to say that it's not worth it. That's just how it goes. You can't stop that. And to me, it's all just great conversation. It's just discussion. And I respect everybody's opinions on certain things. But sometimes you just have to go and get it yourself. And the upcoming LG G6 is what I'm really excited about. There are some other devices that I'm going to bring in where I'll be curious about the battery life. And that's just how it is. But with this particular device, you have to admit, HTC created a beautiful device. It's a gorgeous looking phone. The hardware is great. And, it's just going to be a topic. If you're interested in this phone, the only thing I can recommend is that you buy it. You're not going to be able to gauge whether you're going to like the phone or not based on what someone else is saying. I'm getting over 5 hours of screen on time over Wi-Fi on pretty much every charge. And that's not a ways over. This is actually the most I've gotten. That 5 hours and 30-something minutes. This is the most I've gotten. I've never gotten this much. And the only reason I got this much is because I went hard on it. Sunday was a very lax day. Today's Monday morning. 9:15 a.m. on the 13th of March. So Sunday was a heavier day for me, and I got the battery out of this phone. I'm in the review phase. I'm getting over because the battery. I've already kind of talked about that, and after the hype, because it doesn't take long to figure out if a battery is going to work for you or not. I give it 4 days or so, 5 days, and you can tell how the battery's going to be. And I feel like with this phone, I'll consistently get about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time with the combination of LTE and Wi-Fi. So again, my usage is going to be different. So you're going to have to gauge for yourself. You can watch all the videos you want as a consumer, but I know that people might be not so quick to purchase this device because of phones like the Samsung Galaxy S8 and 8 Plus and whatever it's going to be called. And then the LG G6 is the same size screen pretty much, but it's much smaller. It's almost the size of the S7. It's like super small. But I just I pray that you guys all get the device that you want. And I've read a lot of things online that people are just saying it's just not worth it. It's the battery's a slouch. This overpriced. It doesn't have waterproofing. Da da da. Well, that's all your opinions. I respect that. My view as a reviewer and a consumer is always going to be different, especially as a consumer, because I'm definitely for the consumer. And this phone has good battery life, and that's my experience with it. And to all the people that don't have the device, that feel like this is a small battery, the same thing happened with the Sony Xperia XA Ultra. I thought that phone was going to have horrible battery life, but I was still able to pull down 4 hours consistently with that one, 4.5, something like that. Like, that's my average. And it has a smaller battery, 2700, with a 6-inch screen. Now, it is 1080p, but, still, it's a huge phone with a small battery. So the optimization plays a huge part in how a phone performs, and that's just the way it is. So if you want to gauge, if you want to figure out, know how good this battery is, you'll have to purchase it for yourself, because your usage is definitely different than mine. I don't have a lot of apps just roguely running around, just running through the device, keeping the resources low. This phone also has boost, and what it'll do is it'll clear out. I have it turned on to set at 1 gig, and if you see, I can click clear junk, and then it'll take all the files out there. Look at all this stuff I have going here. It's almost over a gig, almost 2 gigs, and I have this set to automatically do this at one gig, and that helps keep the device running smooth as well. So I'm at 5% now, and I started at 9%, and I'm at 18 minutes in this video. So I'll end here. Any thoughts and comments on the battery life of this device? I can only answer from my point of view, from where I'm sitting, just like you, as I'm looking down at this phone through this camera. That's my experience with it. So I don't have a reason to rig the battery. There's no way that I can possibly. The only thing you can possibly do is plug it in, but then the battery life starts over after it's plugged in for a certain amount of time, and then you end up with a new set of timers for the battery. But this is just the way it is on the internet. People don't believe. It's kind of hard, like a text message that comes through, and then you read it one way, and the person says, "Oh, I didn't mean it like that." That's kind of how it is with battery life. I feel like I'm getting fantastic battery life, and to the person in the comments that said that's not acceptable, I don't know, unless it's a Moto Z or something like that, or a phone that's optimized perfectly, which is very few. You're not going to get fantastic battery life. Whatever you consider to be fantastic battery life. I consider fantastic battery life to be 10 hours, which is why I get on the Moto Z Play, and 8.5 hours to 9 on the Blade V8 Pro. Those phones have fantastic battery, but they also have a different processor, a more efficient processor for battery. So this is the HTC U Ultra discussion on the battery. Long time coming. My inbox is just flooded with people saying that it's not worth it because of the battery. It's overpriced. And I admit, the price on this phone to jump into the market, it's on the higher side. But you can't please everybody. It's their own reasoning behind why they launched this phone for $750. But it's still not overpriced compared to the same competition out there that's priced the same or more. And I think this phone is much better than the iPhone 7 Plus, for example. And the iPhone 7 Plus costs the same with less memory and not as good cameras, The speakers aren't. They're pretty much about the same. They're about the same. But you know, there's just a ton of other phones out there that cost more that I feel like aren't worth it after owning them. I actually own them, so it's not just speaking of what I read on the internet or what you know, I saw on the internet. You got to own them, and you got to use them for a month or two. You can drop it down to even a month, 2-3 weeks. You'll know whether you think something is worth it or not. So, it's Jay Will. This discussion was about the HTC U Ultra's battery, how it affects the worth of the phone, and things like that. So, you leave a comment down below. I hope you hung in there for this discussion video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.